Hi guys, today we're going to be looking at this Nutcracker and turning it into this. So you'll see the whole process from start to finish and learn some tips on how to make your own, even if you're not very artistically inclined. So this one's a little bit wobbly as you saw there. I don't know why. There's no screws or anything to fix it. So I'm just really careful when I paint it and make sure I hold the bottom so that he doesn't fall over. I'm using black Liquitex paints. They are acrylic paints. They're non-toxic, so I recommend them. They have a nice overall color retention over time, and they cover really nice, and they're just a really good paint. But if you're going to use this as a food item, if this is an actual nutcracker and it can be used as a nutcracker, make sure you're using non-toxic paints. That's really important. I did list all of my supplies down below, so if you want to make your own nutcracker, then you can, check out the supplies I used and see what you want to use. Obviously, the colors are going to be up to you. Purple is my favorite color, along with black, so that's why I went with black and purple. I also like more of a gothic Christmas versus the traditional Christmas, so I knew I wanted something a little more gothic. I forgot to turn the light on there. Did you see that? So this one is really large. I'd say he's about 2 feet tall. So he's really hard to get in a lot of the shots here, but I tried my best to try and get him all in there. I painted his face white because I wanted him to look very emo. So, but you can do whatever color you want. And I'll show you in a little bit here what I did for the eyes. You can also use acrylic paint markers, which I used for some of the detailing if you're not very confident with your painting with a paintbrush. The one thing I will say about the acrylic paint markers is that if there's any parts of the wood that are a little bit rough, the markers don't show as well, whereas the paint would go over that a little bit better. But if your nutcracker doesn't have any edges that are a little more rough, then you should be fine with the acrylic paint markers. I'm using several different size paintbrushes for different effects and to try and get into the little tiny nooks and crannies. Because he's holding the drum, it actually makes it really hard to get behind the drum area and not get paint everywhere else. Oh, there's my cat. She's she was being a pain in my butt. She wanted affection and love. So here I got some painter's tape. I don't recommend using other tape because it's going to pull the paint off of the stuff that you've already painted. But I'm using painter's tape that I already have on hands, and I'm just taping off some different areas because it was really hard to get into some places on him because of the structure of him, essentially, because he's holding that drum and things like that. So I wanted to put gold on above his boots for like the cuffs. And whenever I use a metallic color, I always put a base coat on. So because I was using gold, I'm using yellow as my base coat for that gold. And the reason why I do this is because with metallics, you're going to use more metallic paint because they're thinner. So if you use a base coat, you're actually going to end up using less metallic paint and save money because the metallic paints also cost more and they're more expensive. So I just went ahead and painted all the places that I wanted gold in with the yellow. And then once I was done, I went back over it with my acrylic paint marker in gold and colored all those yellow pieces in gold. And you'll see that finished in a second here. These acrylic paint markers have two different tips, a softer tip, which is almost like a paintbrush, but slightly more sturdy, and then a harder tip that's almost like a Sharpie. Later on, I couldn't find my black acrylic paint marker, so I had to use a Sharpie, and it was not the same effect. It was really difficult to use, and I wouldn't recommend it. You can definitely use Sharpies if you want to, and I think Sharpie makes paint markers now. I'm not sure, but I don't know. I would rather just use acrylic paint marker. My camera kept falling over, as you can see. Hey guys, if you like this sort of content and you like watching my art process, as well as seeing my three cats just be cats during the whole process, give the channel a like and a subscribe. And if there's anything you want to purchase, just reach out to me on social. Thanks. Sorry I'm so quiet today. I actually have a bit of a sore throat, so I'm not as loud as I normally am. So I'm taking off the painter's tape here really carefully and just throwing it out. Um, this is basically not really necessary, but I didn't really want to get paint in other places and have to go over it. So if you're not really confident in your painting abilities, I would definitely use the painter's tape and tape off any areas that are hard to get to, or you think that you're going to get paint on them. This whole process took me a few hours. I would just say just go slow with it. There's no rush to get it done, and just have fun. I mean, just have fun making it. That's the whole point, is to just have fun with artwork. I was really worried that he was going to break off the base because he's so wobbly. So every time I painted, I just had to like hold him. There goes my there goes my camera again. It just does what it wants. um, so you can see I'm constantly holding him by the legs because I'm afraid that he's gonna just topple over. And there was a couple points where I almost knocked him over, and I didn't, luckily, but I was afraid that he was gonna knock over. Whoops. And your design is going to look different. I actually got this Nutcracker at Michael's last year. I think it was on Christmas clearance. And I don't know why I bought it. I just wanted it at the time. I think it was really cheap then. He's normally $30, and I know I didn't pay that for him. I was having trouble here um, getting this tape off of it. I was trying to use different things to get the tape off. It was really stuck on there. But I know you can buy these nutcrackers at a bunch of different places. If you just Google search it, they'll come up. And there's ones without drums, and there's ones with drums. You can make it in any color you want. You can do a traditional one, but they're just really fun to paint. And if you have issues where your hands shake a lot, then I would recommend the acrylic paint markers and definitely the tape method. Because I'm used to painting so much, I don't have to tape off everywhere, but there was a lot of nooks and crannies that I was just not confident that I can get into without getting paint everywhere. And so then I started painting, I think this is his jacket. Yeah. So I started painting his jacket purple. And the purple I have is really dark. So I used a lighter shade of purple and just mixed them together to kind of give it like a royal purple color. And I had to do this a couple times because it's a lot. It's a lot of surface for him. He's really tall, like I said. So I had to mix the color more times than I wanted. And sometimes when you paint something, you have to kind of go back after it dries and do touch ups because you think you got it all, but you didn't get it all. So it's okay to go back and look at it in better light or to redo it. And I'm taping off his face here because I already painted it white, and go back over it with a second or a third coat. Usually with the Liquitex, I don't need a third or a second coat. Because it's on wood, I think it definitely needs it, unless you want the wood to shine through, which I didn't want the wood to shine through in this one. I just wanted to look painted. So I did a second coat on him and then a couple of touch-ups here and there, just where it needed it. And you can see in the back there that he actually is a real nutcracker and can be used for cracking nuts. I won't be using him for that. He's probably just going to sit around somewhere. I'm afraid my cats are going to chew on him. They're probably going to chew on him. I mean, most definitely. Hopefully not, though. Oh god, I had so many issues with the camera not staying. It was terrible. It just kept falling over, and I had to keep stopping and fixing it. It was awful. I also used some stencils that you'll see here in a bit, and some molds for some decoration on him. Those are optional steps. You don't really need to use those, but I wanted to just make him have a little more decoration to him than just a simple nutcracker that's just painted. I wanted to give him some little flair to him. I also noticed at this point when I went to go paint the hat that I painted the top of the hat gold, and I didn't mean to do that. There's like a little nubby on his head on the top of his hat, and I painted that gold, and then I just painted the whole thing on the top gold, and I don't know why. So here's that stencil. I used a pen because I couldn't find a pencil. Don't use a pen, use a pencil because it was off center, and then I had to paint over it and redo it. The stencil that I use is actually from Dollar Tree, and it's just a little star stencil that I found in Dollar Tree, and I've had it for a while, and that's what I used to draw the little star on his drum before I painted it. So I painted his hat black and then painted the top of it black again, but I don't think I got that on camera because you can't really see the top. As you can see here, you can't even see the very top. It's cut off because he's too tall. He's a very tall boy. And these are just more touch-ups on his jacket. And I left the belt not painted purple. There's some purple on it, but I was painting it black, and the black is going to cover up the purple, so I'm not too worried about taping that part off. So here I am painting the belt black. There you go. And I also painted his sleeves. He has like cuffs on his sleeves. I painted those black as well. After I got done this, I realized that his legs match his face, so it looks like he's pantsless, but he's actually wearing white leggings. He's not pantsless. I realized that afterwards. I was like, oh man, why did I do that? Sometimes the paint will bleed if you're using the paintbrush method. Even though I taped it, it probably wasn't down all the way. So just be careful. If you're using a paintbrush, make sure that your lines are going to be really crisp. You have to push that painter's tape down. Otherwise, you're going to get some bleeding, which is what happened there. I just used a really small paintbrush and just went over the purple that I got on his face. And here I am painting over the star because I realized it was really off center and I didn't like it. And then I went and found a pencil so I could redo it. So these are little O's, and they're letters from the Dollar Tree that I found. And then this is going to be his mustache and his eyes and his eyebrows. So the O's are going to be what I use as a template for his eye, and then this is how I make his eyebrows. So you can just see it's just like a line, and then I just shaded it in. Ow, my cat is attacking me. Um, and then for his mustache, I made like an S and just elongated the bottom part of the loop there and just connected it. It's really not difficult to make the mustache. And then I used that as the template for both sides of his mustache. And I cut it out. Once we were done here, I cut it out and use that as a template for his mustache on both sides. You just turn it over and then use the other side of, you'll see in a second here. So first I'm going to put the O's. These were letters again from the Dollar Tree. They're just O stickers. If you don't have these stickers, you can use like a hole punch. You can use anything really that's a sticker back and just make a hole punch through it, or just go to the Dollar Tree and buy the letter stickers yourself. And here's my pencil. So I'm tracing the O with the pencil, and then I was going to put white inside of his eye, but I decided not to. I'm just going to leave them all black and make him creepy looking. I actually don't think he's creepy looking at the end. I think he's kind of cool looking. And then I do think I redid something. I think it was his blushing. Yeah, I think I redid his cheeks in a little bit here. So I'm just trying to readjust his eyes to make sure that they're even. It's really hard to do from this bird's eye view. It's easier if you're looking at it straight on, but because he's so tall, I couldn't really record it and do that at the same time. So, oh God, I messed up his mouth so bad. Wait, do you see it? It's so bad. It's really bad. I was trying to use this as like to make it a straight line for his mouth, and because I couldn't find my acrylic paint black pen, I used a Sharpie and it just was so bad. I painted over it once it dried and then I fixed it. Oh, goodness. And I also used the inside of the O's to make his face a little blushy. So here I am using my template for his eyebrows and just drawing those on while I'm holding them. I'm using a pencil. It looks like a pen, but it's a pencil. And I do the same thing for his mustache. So you just use the same, you only need to draw it once, and then you just flip it the other direction and draw the other side. If you're really not confident that you can draw this out, you can just trace it, just look up, just trace it up on like Google, like eyebrow template or something, and then just get a piece of paper and trace it on the paper. And you can just do it that way if you're really not confident that you can draw his eyebrows or his mustache. And I lost his mustache. I couldn't find it. I looked all over for it and I was like, oh my God, what did I do with it? So then I had to use my other one that I had, and then I found it. This is commonly my process is I lose things and then find them a few minutes later. So yeah, and here I am putting his mustache on, and then I didn't like it, so I erased it and then redid it again. And then this is the inside of the O's from the sticker. That's what I used to make his little blushing cheeks. So if you get the stickers, then that's a whole other purpose for them there. This is where I use the Sharpie marker, and it was really difficult to use because I was just used to the acrylic paint pens at this point, and the Sharpie marker is just a regular Sharpie marker, and it doesn't have the give of the acrylic paint pens, so it was much harder to use. But it's okay, it was fine until I got to his teeth. And then his teeth were like a mess. Oh my God, they were so bad. Wait till you see them. It's because of this bird's eye view. It was really hard to see when they're straight or not. And I really messed them up. Like, it's really bad. Wait till you see it. He's like, has really jacked up teeth. I fixed them. It's okay. It's so bad. I can't help but laugh at myself. I can't believe they were this bad. Oh, yeah. Yeah. That's pretty bad. These are made from paintable caulk that you get at the Home Depot, and um, you just put it in the mold and let it sit for a few days, and then you take it out of the mold. And I painted it with the acrylic paint marker. You can also use just regular acrylic paint, but I already used this acrylic paint marker for the other gold pieces, and I wanted the gold to match, so I just used the acrylic paint marker for these as well. And I decided to make little tassels on his shoulder pads because I just thought it would be cool if he had little tassels. So I just took my acrylic paint marker and used the other tip and just kind of went over the tassels and made like little lines going down. Again, that part is optional. You don't have to do that. I also added like these little chain embellishments on his jacket as well as this diamond pattern on his base. And you'll see here what I mean about the wood being a little rough with the acrylic paint marker. It you can definitely see a difference between the smooth side and the rough side. So this is the smooth side, and this is the rough side, and you can see there's like it's more gritty. There's more lines in it. I actually had to go over it a few times. And there's the smooth side, and then I decided to do this little decorative corner piece here, which is like a little piece there that I just thought it would look cool if it was in gold. And then I used an epoxy glue to glue on his little decorative pieces that I painted gold. And this is just like faux fur that I think I got at like Walmart or Michael's. And I cut some strips off and put epoxy glue on the back for his hair. So it's just like just black hair that I It's not real hair. It's just like I don't know, whatever it's made out of, whatever fake faux hair is made out of. And I'm just using an epoxy glue to glue it onto the sides of his head. And you can pick whatever color you want. I just went black because, again, going for that emo goth look for him here. He looks so much better with hair. He looks naked without hair. I also had to use some tape and some other things to hold these little rope things on here. You can also just use like a rope, like I've seen gold like rope ribbons sold at like Walmart or Michael's or any craft store really. You can pick that up. Alternatively, instead of using the caulking method, if you don't want to get the mold and the caulking, you can just get this rope instead. But I already had the mold and I already had the caulking, so that's what I used. And then I used regardless whether you use the rope or the caulking, but you can use the painter's tape to hold it on so that when the glue is settling, it'll still hold it on there and it won't pull off your paint job. Unless you have 3 hours to sit there and hold it, then, by all means do that. But I didn't feel like sitting there holding it, so I taped it on. So you can see the glue sitting there. It's called E6000. You can buy it on Amazon. You can buy it at Walmart. There's a bunch of different places that sell it. I think Home Depot even sells it. But that's the glue that I use for all my mixed medias and anything that I do that requires gluing. That's pretty much what I use because it's really good for different materials. So if you use like a hot glue instead, you can use hot glue. But a lot of times, what happens with hot glue is that it doesn't stay on because of the different materials. Just it doesn't adhere well to it. I did notice later on, after the glue had dried, that his little rope decal on the top here is a little crooked. I'm not happy about that, but I don't feel like ripping it back off, so it's just gonna stay slightly crooked. If it bothers me enough, I will take it off. I might end up taking it off, let's be honest. So I probably will. But so make sure when you're taping it down to hold it down that it's not crooked, or you'll end up like mine, where it's slightly crooked. And yeah, so you can see that this is the caulking method and it is bendable, but you should really tape it down so you keep it on there while it dries. And it also can be cut with the scissors, um, the same as the rope would be able to be cut with scissors. It's very easy and easy to work with. The hardest part about the caulk method is that it takes a couple days for it to dry. I put it down my basement next to the dehumidifier, and it still takes like 3 or 4 days for each one. So it just depends on how long you want this project to go on for. Oh yeah, you can see I fixed his teeth here. I did it off camera because it was really hard to do the bird's eye view and do the teeth. So that piece that I put on his head there is also made from silicone caulking, and then it's also painted gold with the same. And there you have it. Here he is, finished. I hope you like him, and I inspired you to make your own. Until next time, stay spooky, my friends.